That's crazy out there. Okay, everybody, I think we're ready to go. Let me check for our guests. We've got Deb on here, right?
That's correct.
And Sandy?
Yep.
And Gary? Are you on, Gary? He's perhaps rebooting. I do hope he's called in on the moderator line. If not, make sure, Gary, that you call back in on a moderator line to let me know when you get there.
I'm on, Art.
Okay, great. All right, I'm getting a little echo as you just came on there, Gary. If you can mute your line, or maybe you've got another speakerphone or something going on there, okay? That's perfect. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Gosh, let's get the ball rolling. Do we have an incredible webinar lined up today? We got lots of excitement and lots of meat in here, too, really. Some great guests on here. We're really excited about it. And lots of good things happening in Zango. Just been busier than I've been in a long time here. Lots of excited people coming out of convention. Yes, we are a billion-dollar brand. And I'm telling you what, in whatever conversations you're having with people, really, even if they're just interested in the product, or certainly if they're interested in the business, I'm telling people, listen, here's a company that's done $1 billion in less than 5 years with one product. What an amazing story that is. And we are storytellers in this industry, remember? We are storytellers. And we've got a new launch. I mean, gosh, we're going international. I want to skip ahead a slide to the Oprah story, and I'll come back to that other one about Europe, because this is now part of our story, right? The mangosteen was on Oprah, and a lot of good things have been coming. It's amazing how much that little story adds credibility. And I know there's people on the phone today that came into Zango because of hearing about it, that it was on Oprah. And so I encourage you just to, send out a copy of this email, send it out to people that you've been in touch with in the past. Did you know mangosteen was on Oprah? This is the juice I was talking to you about. This is the one that everybody's talking about. Would you like to get some? Would you like to try a bottle? Would you like to get a case or whatever? You see what I'm saying? So really look for ways to enter this into your story, because Oprah is a new part of our story. And stories are what sell. Because stories are what's authentic. And right now, and I've been reading a book about this, people do not trust advertising anymore. They don't trust television commercials. They don't trust, newspaper ads. What they do trust are people that they know with authentic and real stories that they're telling them. And this is just a new part of our story. So also add that in. Hey, do you know that mangosteen I was talking to you about? It was on Oprah. The mangosteen is on Oprah. So fantastic story. Now let's just back up a little bit. We had a big announcement just come out yesterday from Kent Wood is actually going on this major tour of Europe. Let me see if I can bring this up here so you can have a look at it. Kent Wood to open 4 new markets in Europe coming up here just at the end of this month. Wow. Do you know anybody in these countries? Bern, Switzerland. One of the countries at Kent, November 27th. Anybody in Switzerland? How about Belgium on the November the 29th? 4 new markets officially opening with a big tour from Kent Wood, our president, and awesome guy. We're in the Netherlands on the 30th. Yes, and Norway on December 1st. Wow. So, yeah, the things are on the move internationally. Just think to yourself, if you don't know anybody in these countries, do you know anybody that might have contacts in these countries? And so that's a very powerful thing. And I just wanted you to be aware of that. That's an email that came out. Start thinking about who you know in these countries. Taiwan just opened up. International expansion is where we were at. So that's something I wanted you to be aware of right off the bat. Let's get back to the next section here. We covered the Oprah part. Yes, the word is spreading. Dr. Tutla was in the Oakland Press, which is a Detroit area newspaper, and it's a story about MRSA, that staph type of infection that is very difficult to treat, that is antibiotic resistant. And there's been some science to indicate that the mangosteen can help with that. So you can go to the Oakland Press, theoaklandpress.com. Just go to the front page of that website, and you can do a search for Tutla. And if you just search in Tutla at theoaklandpress.com, that article will come up, and you should be able to see that. I was going to show a copy of it, but I've got a little small system malfunction, so we're just going to keep moving on. Of course, we've got the Zango Goodness meal packs. Wow, what a thing to do for this Christmas. Give a gift of 50 meals instead of buying your neighbor or your friend or one of your relatives something that they don't really need. What about that? So that's a strong announcement we made. So there's 3 major markets in Zango, and this is what I've been teaching for, it's been 4 years now, the 3 markets, okay? 3 different basic ways of marketing Zango. And I talk about the warm market. That's the people that you know, right? These are people that generally either have health concerns or challenges or are looking for alternative income streams. There's no question that the warm market is the most powerful market that we have. And if you go to a meeting, Zango convention, and you're in a room of 500 people like I did at last convention and asked the people how many in this room came from the warm market, and about 95% of the people put up their hand. There's also the cold market, and if you don't know enough people in the warm market, then you're going to have to venture into the cold market. This is for people that you don't know. Much more difficult to get into. You've got to have money to invest. And then there's the meat market, the people that you meet every single day. And what's interesting about today's call, and one of our guests on here, is that if you think about the last 2 guests that we had on here, Larissa and Ann Van Brussel, a lot of their work was doing what I would call meat marketing. Even if it's people that you know, it's somebody that you've bumped into. And we're going to be talking to somebody a little bit later on that'll show you a different system of systematically, step-by-step, contacting the people you know effectively. So let's get the ball rolling and get our guests on here. And first of all, I'd like to introduce Deb Pazzo, a 5K from Ontario. Here's Deb and some of her team and her upline, I guess, and Krista and ourselves at the convention dinner that was had on Saturday night. Are you there, Deb?
I'm here.
Okay, Deb.
Thank you very much.
Can I ask you just to speak up a little bit here so that we can get a good recording of this?
You sure can. I'm
here.
That's
better.
Thank
okay,
you very
Deb.
Much.
All right, Deb. Well, it's great to have you on here. You know, I've been hearing about all this fire that you've been building over there, all that you've been doing, since the convention, lots of things happening in your market. So I wanted you to come on and just talk a little bit about what got you interested in Zango, what you're excited about, and then what you've been doing.
Well, what got me interested was my niece that you see sitting with me with the short hair.
That's Trish, yeah.
That's Trish. And the one in the middle is my sister. My niece has a 7-year-old son that needs a kidney transplant. And she had a long journey getting him stable enough to come home, and Mangosteen has helped him become strong enough to now face his kidney transplant, which Trish will be the donor of.
Wow.
So that's how I got interested. My why is to bless my family. And what's kept me here is Zango. It's a powerful, powerful blessing company that just keeps growing inside of you.
Well, you know, you sent me a picture of a little typed post-convention thoughts that you did after convention, and I thought you had some really wonderful highlights on here. Of course, the one that stands out, maybe let's just have you talk a little bit about where some of these thoughts were coming from as you left convention, and then we'll talk about your team motto, as you will.
Where the thoughts were coming from? Oh, my goodness. They were just flying around in there after convention. What a weekend. But it taught me that we really had to strive for unity. When I saw the founders up there, they each were bringing something totally different, totally and completely different to the stage.
Right.
And yet it all blessed the other one, and in turn blessed us. Meeting you and Terry, and going to your breakout session, it again spoke of unity. The power is in the unity in creating the team and having the courage.
Yeah, and I just put up a little slide here that has that motto, we are Team United, and as a team we will grow united. And so this is the kind of intention you took back to your team in Ontario, which is not far from Windsor, Ontario, right? Not far from
Correct.
Detroit, actually.
That's correct. We're about 40 minutes from Detroit, about 28 minutes outside of Windsor.
Right. Well, Deb, you've been on fire since you got back. One of the things you've been doing is having home parties, but what else have you been doing there? What has happened since you returned, and what are some of the strategies that are working for you?
The strategies that are working, we have, as you said, the home parties. We have at least one party a week. Some weeks we have 3 parties because we have too many people that want to attend. We've been having every Friday morning, I have a team leader meeting in my home where we meet and we strategize and we learn because we're all very new at this. None of us have been in the network marketing before, so we're all learning. There's our bottle of Zango.
Yeah, this is your team meeting that you had just Friday morning. The 4 gals here get together and strategize and work on their plans for the week and stuff like that, right?
Yes, yep, that's what we do. Actually, this Friday morning we were talking about a meeting that we had Wednesday morning with the retirees group from Chrysler's. We spoke in front of a group of about 250 retirees, and that was a challenge, let me tell you, but we stood united and we shared the dream.
Yeah, so you had that chance. Somebody invited you to talk in front of a group of 250 this last week, right?
Yes.
And these are retirees. What did you talk about, and how did that go?
What we spoke about was it went wonderful. We had a lot of positive feedback, and we spoke about the opportunity of an incredible health beverage that had helped to change our lives. We addressed anybody with heart disease, cancer, Alzheimer's, diabetes, MS. I asked if anybody knew or loved anyone that these diseases had touched.
Right.
And,
so you're basically looking to reach out and see what people you can help there. Let me ask you a question. And so you're getting a lot of calls and sign-ups off of that presentation?
We are. I just left the doorway from a couple that came just before I came downstairs to get online.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about what else you're doing now. Are you actually getting on the phone, calling people, or does a lot of your networking just people you bump into? What is your system? Because I know you've had a lot of people coming in since convention. What does your system look like?
Actually, we're doing it all. We're kind of blending right now. As you see here, this is my warm market. These are my best buddies in front of me. Our families. We've brought in our families, and we've built a team. From that, we're going out and we're doing cold calls. If we're in a restaurant, no matter where we are, we're talking to the people. We're learning who the people are and trying to address them from situations in their lives.
Right. I get a feeling that you're really a caring person and you're really wanting to help a lot of people. Just before we go into the next guest, what is the secret? Because I know a lot of people would like to have home parties, and sometimes, they're not happy. They have an expectation of getting a large group out and only a few show up. What is it that you do to get people out to those home parties, and how effective have they been?
First of all, the expectation shouldn't be huge. If we touch one person,
yeah,
we've changed a life. If you get a huge party, that's an extra blessing. What we do, we talk, and we talk some more, just like we've been taught. Isn't that what you tell us? You tell us to talk, Art.
Well, one of the things that you said that you think you're good at is you ask a lot of questions of people. You're
Correct.
Really trying to get into what is it that how could this benefit them, right?
Yes, we find out where they're coming from, where if they have hurts, whether it be hurts of the body or hurts of the soul from financial reasons. We find out where they are, what's going on in their lives, and we try to address that.
And one other thing you do is you're kind of playing with the whole idea of the bean thing, right? Where you talk to so many people per day, something like that?
That's right. That was my last week at my team meeting last week was I handed my girls the box of 10 beans, and we've talked about this before, but I said if you can only use 2 beans, that's great. Make sure you use your 2 beans, but if you can use 10, that's even better. And every day we talk and we find out how many beans we've used. And
beans are talking to new people then, right?
That's right. That's right. I learned from David Butler. That's how he started. I heard him speak in Vancouver in September.
Oh, right, yeah.
And he said he started with 10 beans, and at the end of the day, he had to talk to 10 new people. So basically, we're trying to use our beans up at the end of the day, whether it be 2 or whether it be 5 new people that we try and bless with this business of ours.
Yeah, and you're coming from a caring heart. I can hear that in you, Deb. Roughly, do you know how many new members have come into your 5K team since convention? What would your guess be?
Oh, my goodness. Probably 30?
I would think so, yeah.
At least 30 since convention.
Well, anything else you'd like to share before we jump on to our next guest?
I want to thank you. I want to thank you, and I want everybody to keep strong and steady, united and focused, and that's going to get us where we all need to go by blessing each other.
Yes, thank you, Deb. And what's your goal for Zango?
My goal for Zango? Unity in my family. Actually, my goal for next year, I want to bring my whole family to Salt Lake City for convention.
Wow.
That's quite a goal.
Well, congratulations. I know your whole team is grateful that you're on here, on their team. We certainly are, and we really appreciate you coming on. It's very obvious, people listening, that Deb and her team come from a caring heart. They want to help people. They're thinking about others and what it can do for them and how it can bless their lives rather than what it can do for themselves. So thanks a lot, Deb, and your whole team, Carol and Trish, for all bringing you into the fold here. Thank you all for coming on the call.
Thanks,
Deb,
Art.
this is Terry. I just wanted to say it was so great to meet you and your team at convention. You guys really bring great hope to the world for sharing this great juice, and so I wanted to honor you all for all that you've done since you've been back from convention, because you've really put your best foot forward, so thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you. You are an honor to have on our side.
Thanks, thanks, Deb.
Thanks, Art.
So let's bring on our next guest because Sandy Bennett has a little bit of a different a way of approaching people, in a sense. I mean, I think we're all a little bit different. I don't think there's one way to do this business, and I don't want anybody listening to think that you have to do it a certain way. You know, you've always got to find your way. But there's a picture of a leadership meeting that we did this week in Portland, and this is actually Scott Kossman's group. Mark Tippenreiter and some of his team are here, and also then Matt Cosentino over here, and Sandy she looks like she's very intently watching over here. I knew she wouldn't like that picture, but it's the best thing I had, Sandy, I swear. But anyway, I mean, this is what Scott and his team have done, and we just joined in the 2 lines together there on Tuesday night for a leadership meeting. What they find effective in their big city of Portland is they have a Tuesday night roundtable workshop. Scott calls it the boiler room, and they have this is a room in the library. They get very economically. They come in there. You can see they bring their laptops with them. They bring their cell phones, and they go in here to make calls together, do 3-way calls together and strategize. And they do this every Tuesday night, and it's really been a great focal point for their leaders and their team to get together around this roundtable in the library. And so while we were there, Sandy was talking about exactly what she had been doing to bring in all of these people since convention, so we decided to have her on to go through her little system. Are you there, Sandy?
Yep, I am. Mm-hmm.
How are you today?
Great. How are you?
Good. Good to have you on. Excited to have you on.
I'm excited to be here.
Are you on? I'm getting a little bit of an echo. Are you on a speakerphone or anything, or?
No, but how's that?
Okay, that's a little bit better.
Okay.
So, and it was great to meet your husband, Jim, the other night for the first time. You really brought a lot to the table here. So I wanted you to come on and talk a little bit about your system. But you came back from convention kind of on fire too, right, Sandy?
I did. I went on fire and I came back ignited. So, yes.
very excited. You want me to kind of share how I do my 3-ring binder and all that? Is that what
Yeah, I've got some slides that I'm going to bring up on there, but I just kind of wanted to just get a feel for what is driving your excitement, and then we're going to go through your little system here.
Okay.
What is your goal? Like, why are you doing this, Sandy? I mean, what is it that is motivate you? What are you excited about with Zango? What is your dream?
Well, what I'm excited about for Zango is what it can do for people. I love the Zango, what it's done for myself. I didn't really have many physical problems, but what it's done for my husband and my mom was amazing. And what I see it doing for others physically and what I can see in the future doing for people financially is amazing. But really my dream for getting into it was a passion for health and helping people. I've always had that, so it kind of came natural for me when I saw this awesome product. I've strived for that my whole life, and I don't think there's anything that I have ever come in contact with quite like the Zango product. It's amazing. So that's what drove me to it when I saw it working for others, and so I just got on the phone and started interviewing people and had them tell me, what's it doing for you health-wise, I love the fact that it can help people financially. That's just, kind of comes with the flow, but what it can do for people health-wise, that was my passion for getting going. And my short-term goal is to get to 20K, and, my long-term goal is to continue to help people, and, the money, I think, just follows that. So my goal is to help people get better. I think if we live in America and we're the pharmaceutical industry is kind of overtaking us, and it really kind of irritates me. So I have a double whammy for getting going.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, Sandy. And now you've really, we'll go into your whole story, but, you kind of sat on the fence there and just used the juice for a while, saw some results about 6 months later, and you've really only started working the business, I think, since around the 1st of August. Is that right?
Yeah, actually, the 6th of August, I said, okay, this is it. I'm going forward here. This is an amazing thing, and I didn't realize what I had in my hands, and when I did, I went, ooh, you're kind of a fool if you don't get rolling with this,
Yeah, and as I was looking the other day, you're at around 70 members in your team since the 6th of August, brand new members. That's pretty phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think 74 or something like that now, but yeah, it's really going. It's just people telling people, like Deb said, you just kind of open your mouth, and and if you have a passion for it to boot, it's just a double whammy, I think. So.
Well, this is kind of the system that we kind of went through. I asked you in front of that round table, what is it that exactly you're doing, and I'm going to walk through actually your system. It kind of starts with this. I mean, this is a picture of. Is this a picture of your original list of 100 names? I know there's only 80 on here, but what is this list of?
That's just my warm market list. You know how when you wake up in the middle of the night and you go, oh my gosh, and that person, well, or if you're driving down the road and you think about a person, I write it down. When I get home, I add them to this list. I don't do it every day, but sometimes I sit down weekly and add those names that I've accumulated onto that list, because you think about those people, maybe it's 2 or 3 weeks later, you go, oh my gosh, I forgot to write that person down. So I've accumulated a list that I add to, sometimes daily, sometimes weekly, as I've jotted these names down when I'm in, different places, peculiar places. This is really just my warm market people, and the asterisks there are, how many cases they're on, and things like that.
You just kind of skipped over that a little bit quicker. But if if people are looking at your warm market list, these asterisks here are the number of cases that they have bought, or these are sign-ups, and this is a 1 case, and that's a 2 case. And as I read down this list, Sandy, I was absolutely amazed. It really looks to me like roughly you've signed up over 25 of the 80 people on this list. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that is. Yeah, that's accurate. I've and there's a few people on here that everybody runs into their cold market or their meat market people, and they're not really on here. This is just my warm market. So I have a few, but the majority of my people are warm market people because I have a list that never ends, And but I'm certainly going to take advantage of the people that aren't in my warm market, when I run into people that it's kind of silly if you don't.
Okay, so let's go back, and I want to just interview you and exactly. So you've made your list of names, and I know You know, a lot of people are afraid to call people that they know. I know there's a lot of fear about that. Is that? Do you have any anxiety about calling these people?
You know, I do. I think everybody has a little bit of anxiety, but I'll tell you what helps get over that is just doing it. You do it and you do it and you do it, and it's easier and easier and easier every time. You know, 5 years ago, if you would have asked me to be on this webinar, I would have told you were crazy because, you know, but the more I've done it, the more comfortable I get. That's the same way with picking up the phone. You have to get over yourself. It's really you. It's not those people. You just think they're not going to want to hear from you. But it's amazing. It's changing people's life, and that's what you have to keep the focus. It's changing their life. You're not after it to, you know, just make $1. You have to realize what your passion is first, and then you pick up the phone. Of course, it's hard, but it's easier. It's easier than it used to be, and some people are harder than others.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Well, I mean, what do you say to them, okay? What do you say, Sandy? What is your, and actually I might even, you know, we might even trick you a little bit here, but what do you basically say? I might even pick a name in here and just see, do you approach them all the same way, or, you know, what do you say to these people? What did you say to Donna Hawker here at the top of your list here, for instance?
Well, Donna Hawker and I have been friends for 20-some years, and she has an autoimmune disease, and she basically, we're the kind of friends that you can not talk for months and then pick up, and, you know, it's like you never quit, you know. So I had called her and asked her if she had heard about the mangosteen juice, but, you know, you just kind of shoot the breeze a little bit because it would kind of be rude to call a friend and just say, hey, I want to tell you about mangosteen juice. You shoot the breeze just for a minute or two, and you tell them that you're calling them for a real important reason. And so I knew that she had this problem that she's basically, you know, for you know, many years had difficulty physically, and I knew this juice would help her just by the research that I had done, or at least I was hopeful that it would, because most people it does. So I shared with her, and she said, well, she had heard of mangosteen juice before. Matter of fact, she thought maybe her sister was trying something like that. It come out that she really wasn't. But anyway, so it wasn't until weeks later that I actually revisited the conversation, and I said, you know, Donna, you don't have anything to lose. The company allows you to drink the juice for 30 days. I think you need longer than that, of course, but why don't you give it a try? And you know, she was going on vacation, and she was doing, you know, all kinds of things, so she decided to really start when she got back. And she did. And the first month, you know, she understands her body and her health. So the first month, she had some difficulties with it, and she, you know, but I walked her through it with your wonderful wife giving me the right verbiage and how to follow up on people, and I've got that list in my 3-ring binder as well. Yeah. Following up on her, and like in her 6th week, she is having amazing results. You know, it takes time, especially if you have an autoimmune disease and you know, you've got a lot of difficulties. It's going to be different for somebody that's fairly healthy. Sandy, what I like about what you're talking about here is that, you know, Donna, what you said here is that she didn't sign up on the first conversation, you know, that you planted the seed and then followed up on her later, you know. Gosh, I mean, I think people give up after one call on their warm market sometimes. And I think you're absolutely right, and that's when sometimes that second phone call is harder than the first, because you almost, and with Donna I didn't, but you almost feel rejected with some people, but you have to push through that, and you have to say, you know, my gosh, I believe in my product so much. I know what it's going to do because I have facts before me. I read them every day. I read the stories. I watch the videos. I know what it's doing for people, so I know it perhaps can help her, so I didn't give up. And sometimes that second phone call is harder than the first. Yeah. But you do it anyway because you know you believe in your product. That's the first thing. You have to believe in your product. And obviously, you know, we've got facts behind it. So yeah, I just, you know, called her again, and it's working for her, you know.
Sandy, this is Terry. What I'm reading from you is you have such certainty now, you know, and I think after calling all of those people and getting so many people on the juice, the more people you call and the more you care about the people and the more follow-up calls you do, the more certainty you get.
Exactly.
And I really have picked that up, and I've watched you grow since the first time we spoke, and Sandy was just like a little sponge with follow-up, you know. She just kind of, I did a coaching call with her, and she just kind of took it and just went exactly what I had said and then adapted it to her own way, and Art's going to go through that next. But thanks, Sandy. You've done an amazing job with your team.
Well, thank you. you.
Yeah, and so you called these, and the key thing here, and this is what I've been teaching, is think about what's in it for them, and that's what it was with Donna. Is there anyone else in here that you'd like to talk about a process that you went through with them that might be teaching for people or helpful to people?
Well, there's actually several people in here, but right offhand, I'm just trying to think here. Another one is Julie Barton. She had some real physical, details in her life that really needs some help, and she's been drinking the juice, I think, about 3 weeks, and she's starting to get results. She noticed right off the bat what it was doing, some things in her body because she was in tune. It's the people I really like to hone in on. I don't mind getting the people that really need it and they're healthy pretty much and all, but I love to help those people that are really sick,
Yeah.
and they're just on all these medications and they hate being on all that because they know the side effects. And I think we have such an amazing product that I almost feel bad not sharing it with people. Sometimes I tell people when I watch the John's story, amazing story, and I read the one the other night that you sent out about the brain tumor, I thought, I would be robbing people from not sharing this amazing product. What if somebody would not have told John's parents about the juice? That breaks my heart to think I could be one of those people. I have something in my hands that I need to share. And I've done my research before I pick up the phone and call. Not on the person. I already know my warm market people, but I know my product, and I just didn't take your word for it. I believe you. But I got on, line, and I started researching this product, and I started picking up the phone all over the United States and calling people that I've never met. And I said, tell me your story, because I want to share the good news of this if it's really what they say it is. And I'm finding out it's even better than people are saying. People are getting results. And that's what makes me share with Julie and Donna and Sharon and, all of these people. Now, I have some people out there that I'm trying to share with that need it more than anybody I know, and they won't drink it. But
that happens, and you have to take that with it, Well, let's just go back here, because let's cover the system, because I know that once you get their interest, then you tell your own story like we've been talking about. You share some other stories. That's part of your conversation. And then you get them more info. And I look on some of your list there, and, it's got send a packet out. And so the right side of your list has got a lot of packets. You pretty well get packets out to everybody now that once you've talked to them?
I do. I ask them when I call them, I say, I can send you a couple links on an email. Do you have a CD player in your car? I talked to somebody last night, and she said, yeah, I do, but it's broke. I said, well, do you have one in your home? I like to go the car route because people are busy and they're to and from work. If you have a CD player, why aren't you listening to something? So that's a seed I plant. And they go, oh, I never thought about putting it in my car. It's like, that's what I always think of first. But anyway, so I asked them, would you mind if I send you a packet, And I just have a couple CDs in there, and not the business opportunity, unless they've told me, hey, this is a great business and I want to know about that. Then I'll slip in one. It's information. It's what the doctors are saying, the professionals. It's the research that's been done. A newspaper and a CD or two. Sometimes it just depends on the person. If the person has fibromyalgia and depression, that's the one I'm sending them, But basically, the keys to the disease or something like that can relate to a lot of people. So I have packets made up way in advance. I'll sit down and make 50 of them up at once. And then so I don't have to, generate a new packet every time and I send out packets to people. It's the best information that they can, it's, a couple dollars and valuable information. When I follow up on them, I ask them if they got the information. I want to make sure that I didn't address it wrong or their neighbor got it and they didn't.
Right. So that's the next step, of course, is the follow-up to the packet. One of the things to move along here is you like to use, there's different ways of keeping in touch with people. There's different ways of signing people up. This is what we call the quick order form that you happen to like to use when you're talking to somebody. They give you a buying signal like, how much is it? Where do you get it? How do I get it? Something like that, right? And then you sign them up with a quick order form, and then you enter it in the computer later. Is that how you do it?
Yes. That's most of the time how I do it. Even if they're wanting to keep their information private, which most people don't mind giving me their information, especially the warm market people. They know I'm an honest person. So, but cold market people don't seem to mind either. So don't be afraid of that. Just plunge through. But if they're even doing it on the computer, I ask for the personal information because I have a 3-ring binder that I keep all that in. It keeps me focused on who, when, where, and what got my stuff, so I can follow up with people. So I love to use this because this is just a way that I track people. So.
And the fortune is in the follow-up. Gosh, that's an old saying in the industry. And this is your little follow-up system. Very simple. I like to use the computer to following up on appointments. But Terry, this is similar to what Terry did when she was doing her follow-up work. I mean, this is basically somebody that you signed up, and then you put that order form. Now, they could have. What you're saying is they could have actually signed up on the computer, but you use this then to keep track with their contact information. So, because for instance, this particular one here is Donna. That's the first one that we talked about, right?
Right, and Donna did sign up on the computer, but you notice I have her stuff. But when I get people's personal information, like their Social Security and their credit card, I write it down in there so I'm not making a mistake when I'm inputting it, and then I black it out. After I've inputted it, I don't want that information anymore, so I take a black marker and I black it out, so I'm not responsible, but I keep their personal information, as in name, phone numbers, and all that.
Yeah, and then you just have the back side of your 3-ring binder of that particular contact person. Then that's where you make notes on your follow-up calls. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. And it's scribbled, and I usually just put a line underneath and maybe a date by when I've talked to them, so that I know my next conversation is different. So it's very simple. I kind of use the KISS method, that keep it simple, silly, and that's just, it's very simple for me, and anybody can do it because everybody has a 3-ring binder, and you just hole punch your quick order forms and stick them in there.
Sandy, this is Terry. The only other thing that I want to say is if people can notice that on the back of her sheet, this is what I used to do as well, because isn't it easier to phone that person and know when you last spoke to them and what they said about your last conversation, right, Sandy?
Exactly.
Because if they do have arthritis and you told them how many ounces to take to get great results and told them to take an ounce just before bed, that what Sandy's going to find, and she's probably finding it already, that if she didn't have some notes on it, that she would kind of get lost. It's like when you're phoning hundreds of people, it's like, gosh, what did I say to that person? When did I last call them? So this way you're able to take notes on it. And I know Kristen, there's a lot of people out there that are very computer savvy, and they put it right into their computer, and that is definitely a way to go. But this is how I did it. And so when I told Sandy, she kind of ran with it the same way I did it. So I just find it a lot easier to phone that second call back to see how they're doing on their juice with the follow-up when you know exactly what you said the first time.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to point out that let's say you want to do some sort of an offline system like this. I mean, this order form, you could use this as a simple contact sheet for when you're mailing packets out, and then you've got it all partly ready, and you can enter their billing information in here when they join too.
Yeah, and I actually do that when I'm calling people. Sometimes I just take a leap of faith. I've got their name on an order form. I already know they're going to do it. And, when I follow up on them, all I have to do now is just put their credit card and Social Security number, and I'm ready to go. But I have them in there, and if I'm coaching them, just talking to them, I'll take that same order form, flip it over even before they've signed up. I might take notes so I know next week when I follow up on them, I've got a note there of what we talked about. So I do that as well.
Yeah, that's a fantastic job. And I want to point out something. Here's Matt and Susan, your sponsor. And this is us at the convention. This is Sandy over here, and some of your team members that came with you over there. And this is Sam White that does our audio recording. And I want to honor him here because Sandy and Matt were in his downline, but not in his sponsorship. And he started communicating with somebody in his downline that wasn't in his sponsorship and helped them, nurtured them along in their business. And now, has got Sandy and a whole team because he reached down into his downline and gave of himself, gave of his time, and we have this huge leg growing now. So I want to thank Sam for that. Anything else you'd like to add here, Sandy, before we jump on? I mean, this is a fantastic little simple system that you've been following here.
No, actually, the thing I do like about the 3-ring binder is you can just grab and go. You can put it on your shelf when you're walking out the door. I grab that when I'm going. So if I'm in a meeting place and I've been delayed because there's, somebody's not there yet, if I want to make just a quick call, I have my 3-ring binder with me, or I can keep it in my car. It fits between the seat and the console. So it's an easy thing just to grab and go, or, put on your shelf, on your desk, so you have all your information there. So it's just my simple method. So.
Well, thanks a lot, Sandy. Really appreciate you coming on, and great to have you and Jim as part of the team, and we look forward to helping you build a big business with this. We're grateful that you and your caring heart is part of this wonderful Zango company and our team.
Thank you. I love all the help that I'm getting from you and my sponsors, so thank you very much.
Oh, thanks, Sandy.
Thanks, Sandy.
Yeah.
And both of these people had something in common. They used the tools. You notice all the packets that Sandy was sending out there? I can tell you this is the part where a lot of people drop the ball. They start talking to people before they have the information in their hands that they can share with people. So when you do decide that you're going to treat this as a business, make sure you have the tools, make sure you have a system, set your intent, and move forward. Now, one of the guests I want to bring on here is Gary Goslin, who has been absolutely brilliant because he sort of fell in love with our webinars. He's not in our team, by the way, and started enjoying them and started turning them into events. And he actually showed us how another way to use the webinars. And so Gary is on the line here from Hawaii. Are you there, Gary?
Yes, I am, Art.
Hey, Gary, thanks so much for coming on the line here. I'm not sure, who is that beautiful woman next to you there?
That is my wonderful wife, Christina.
Christina, wow. Is she the one that got you out there to Hawaii?
No, actually, I came here first, but I did meet her here in Hawaii.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you're out in Waikiki area someplace. That must be tough.
Yeah, it's tough duty, Art, but we figure somebody better do it, so we took up the task.
Yeah. Well, anyway, somewhere along the line, I don't even know how, you heard about our team training and our webinars, right?
Absolutely, yes. I'm part of Anton Garrity's organization, and of course I know that Anton works with you, and he's part of your organization. So he told me about you and Terry and what great folks you were and the tremendous training that you had. And so I started watching your webinars, and as soon as I watched them, I got hooked, and I got our team watching these. And then we got the idea, well, why don't we do this together? And so then we started having these Saturday morning events.
Yeah, let's talk about that because, of course, it's earlier. It's a couple hours earlier there. So you start every Saturday morning off with a team meeting. You call it breakfast. Come over for breakfast, and we'll watch the webinar together. And your team comes over, and then you plug it into your widescreen TV and watch it in the living room, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We right now we're watching the webinar on a 61-inch widescreen. We've got it just piped in through our computer. It works perfectly. And we start out early in the morning. Actually, it was 7 o'clock until a couple weeks ago because we were 3 hours behind. Now it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay. And so everybody brings a little dish with them. We just have a casual little breakfast. And we get on the webinar, and we watch this together as we're eating our breakfast. And then right after that, we do an integration session, which we feel is really important. We talk about how are we going to use these amazing skills and these testimonies and these ideas that you and your team are teaching us for this week and for this month. How is it going to make a difference in our business and in our lives?
You know, I really like what you're saying here, Gary. It's one of my hot buttons is that people get on these calls and these webinars, and then it's over, and they get off of them, and they go out into the living room, and they forget whatever happened here. And nothing changes. They don't apply any of it, and so this whole idea of having an integration session, absolutely brilliant.
Yes, we feel this is so important, Art, because as you know right now, there's so much knowledge out there about Mangosteen and Zango, our business, our product, and it can almost be like drinking water out of a fire hydrant. You know, you can become completely overwhelmed, and we're teaching our people, yes, you want to be educated, but you don't want to just become a professional educator. You want to be professional at sharing this, because all the education is designed, as you say, to go out and get this juice into people's lives.
Yeah, and so now you've actually turned this into more than just a local event. You're spreading this in your team, and you have other team webinar events around the mainland, right?
That's correct. What we've done is we've got our teams in different states starting to do this, and they're watching the webinar right now as well. And then right after we finish this, we will go on to our conference call line, and people will log in. And then, of course, we're doing this live in our living room, but they're actually participating in the integration session on the mainland. So we're able to tie our team together through this event.
You know, I heard of Grace Dick doing something like this. She has a roundtable discussion every Tuesday morning, and other people listen across the country on a speakerphone line. I guess you get a speakerphone in there, and you're talking to your team, and then people are coming back and forth and like that?
Yeah, that's exactly what we do.
And that's your team here in Hawaii. You had a big event with Brian Davis recently, came up to the North Shore of Hawaii and got a beautiful shot there.
Yes, that was actually just last Thursday, just 2 days ago. We had a fantastic meeting. Also, Kenau Tollefson, one of the funniest men on the planet, was there with us.
Oh, Kenau,
we had a wonderful time.
Yeah. Well, you know, one of the things I wanted to briefly talk about here, and I got a couple slides, you probably saw them flash by there, is how difficult is it, you know, and this is a couple things that I just found on the internet, but how difficult is it to hook up your television set to your computer so that you can show one of these webinars on your television set?
Actually, Art, it's surprisingly easy. Now, if you have a Mac, the Mac computer has a jack output that you can buy from any computer store or Mac store, which will allow you to plug a RCA video cord right into your Mac computer. Now, on PCs, you can also get a similar type adapter, and some of them actually do have an RCA adapter on them, or you can use like a USB connection that converts. But on your television, of course, you're using what's called basically an RCA connector, and it's pretty much the standard of the industry that you plug in your DVDs or your VHS or whatever into your television with. And so most televisions, of course, have got several ports, and
right.
On our widescreen, we just plugged it right into the front ports, and I've actually got audio on there too, so some of the webinars that have audio on them, I can actually show the audio as well.
Wow. Right through your widescreen. This is something I found that Sam White sent. It is a company called SewellDirect.com, and they have some kind of a converter. I don't know if you even need this for your computer, but there's an 800 number there. They even have wireless ones, too, and this is Sam sent me this wireless one. You know, if you've got, you know, don't want to have cables or it's not convenient, you know, there's a wireless router kind of thing that you can, from your PC to your TV, so it's a pretty easy thing to hook these things together. I know the Sardas have done one in there from their laptop over to a screen, and they actually, what they did is they actually had external speakers from their laptop that they broadcasted from their cell phone. Actually, they broadcasted it from their cell phone. So there's lots of ways to hook it together, right?
Oh, yeah, it's a very simple procedure. And really, you only need two components in most cases. You just need the adapter from your computer, which will allow you to plug in an RCA connection, and then you just plug that into your TV, into your input port, and you know you turn on your webinar, and you put that port on your TV, and you're ready to go. It's really easy.
Yeah, the other thing we were talking about is some people are starting to take, like, the Eric Welsh webinar and use it as a juice party, because that way you don't have to say anything, really. You can show that, taste some juice after, you know, have some samples, tell some stories, and that could be your whole meeting. You know?
Absolutely, and we've done that. In fact, Belinda's sitting in the room with us, and she can say that, you know, the second time she came to our home when she joined our organization, we actually showed her the Eric Welsh webinar as an entry to Xango and as a training, and we did it on our widescreen. We played the entire thing, and, you know, how did you like that, Belinda?
It was excellent, very informative, and still learning and learning a lot. Learned a lot from that session as well.
Okay, thanks a lot, Belinda. So has this really had a big impact on your team working these webinars like this, Gary?
Oh, yeah, it's been tremendous. I mean, we just have so much fun with this. We love getting together on Saturday mornings. It's early in the morning here, so it works well for everybody, and it gets our weekend off to a great start, you know. And the second thing we've done with this is we've tied this into a recruiting meeting as well. The webinar, of course, is training, and after we finish our training and our integration session, we take a short break, and then we do an opportunity meeting, which starts at 10 o'clock in the morning. And so we invite new people to come and look at our business, and then we show them the presentation. And usually what I show them is either the Eric Welsh webinar on the widescreen, or I also use Mike Healy's tremendous webinar presentation, and I can play that through the computer onto my widescreen as well. So we do a recruiting meeting right after this, and so we have like a super Saturday every week. And, you know, we're working to duplicate this with as many of our teams as we can, because, as you know, a lot of people, Saturday is a great day for them to have time to look at our business.
Yeah, and so what you're saying is then you bring them, you have an opportunity meeting after the training webinar, and then you were telling me that then you invite them to come for breakfast the next Saturday and attend the next webinar and do it, and that's their next step, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So we say now, you know, this is your training program starting next week, you know, and we get them started fast, and of course we start working with them during the week too. But we like to say now, be here next week, come and participate with us, have some breakfast, get into our training program, and then they can see, wow, I can do this. I can bring my friends over here. Just like we introduce them to the business, they can see I can get started this way. It's not hard.
Right. Well, thanks a lot, Gary. What a great idea, and just really appreciate you using your own creative ideas to take a tool that is there for everybody, and you thought of a way to use it to benefit your team, and we're grateful that you did. Thanks so much, and I'd like to acknowledge all of your great team that you have there. Anyone listening in the Gary Goslin, we're grateful to have you on our webinars, and you're free to use them however you want.
Well, thank you so much. I just want to say a special mahalo to you and Terry for being such great leaders. You know, you just have such a great heart to share with people. You're always so inspiring, and your expertise is just excellent. I mean, you share with us something every week that is very, very relevant and very usable to our business. And I know it takes work to put these webinars on.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to honor you today, Art, as just being a great leader to us and somebody who's really a great giver. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks a lot, Gary. Really appreciate that. Wow, fantastic idea. Isn't that amazing how he's taken that simple little thing and used it for his team and created a whole event around an event, you know? Gosh, I got some great news here. I know we're running short on time, but the 14-day challenge live video is ready to launch. And gosh, I wanted to show you this. I've got a little bit of a malfunction here. I'm going to have to reload this up. The GoToWebinar thing sometimes messes me up a little bit, and I have to reload this up here. But, Sam, I'm going to flip over, and I'm just going to give you a little bit of a preview before we get off here, the 14-day challenge live video. I'm going to show you what is now in the back office of BecomingAPremier.com. This is live video feed from the convention on the 14-day challenge. We've got a lot of great feedback on this. It's a way that you can take your business and set some goals yourself to really get your business on fire here in the 14 days. So I'm going to give you a little 2 or 3 minute preview. This is right in the back office, BecomingAPremier.com, right on the home page. Watch this.
Okay, so here we go. 14-day challenge. This is going to be a lot of fun today. You know, actually, the 14-day challenge is an idea that I had about a month or two ago, and I've just been working with it for a short time. What I was finding is that people were coming to events, you know, and they were going, and they would get excited, and then they'd go home, and nothing much seemed to happen. You know, it was like I would say to people in the audience, was this some kind of a movie or something that you went to? You know what movies are like. You go, you watch them, you go home, and they don't necessarily change your life. And so the 14-day challenge is about taking this energy that's been created here, this belief, this certainty, and actually having something to do. So that when you go home, and you're going to make a list of your own. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You're going to make it up as you go here. So this is going to be pretty hot. First of all, confession time. You guys know I have to confess. This is not the real me up here. The real guy is there. It looks like that. You guys think that's funny, isn't it? With those slippers, 330 days of the year, we got our jogging pants, we got our shirt, headset, backyard. I do as much as I can in the backyard. And we've actually expanded it recently and got a Japanese waterfall. And right now I'm talking to one of my 100K premiers talking about something that he learned from one of our webinars on a Saturday.
There you go. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, so that's in the back office. You can watch that whole presentation. It actually comes a little bit herky-jerky when it runs through the webinar, but it's a full live video put together by our webmaster, and so I'm really excited about that. We also have our Mindset webinar, our breakout that we did at convention. That is also going to be on, hold on here. That is also going to be on, hold on a second here. You gotta watch the glitching here of this thing. There we go. There we are. Back up. Okay. got to be careful with these webinar things. So the mindset one I'm hoping to have next Saturday. Also very, very phenomenal. So let's finish out the call. Let's talk a little bit before we get off the line about the inner and the outer. I'm almost out of time here. Always run a little bit long. But, you know, here we are, and this is where the inner and the outer come in. This is the inner. This is like my little 2-minute inner chat. I've got down here is doubt, and here is certainty. And doubt is number one. This would be, and most of us are somewhere between the 1 and the 10 here, aren't we? So what is doubt? Doubt would be, at number one, a 0 would be somebody that wouldn't even get involved in the business. So we're not counting those. But a 1 would be somebody who is in the business but doesn't really believe there's any way he could ever make money in Zango. Would like to, but doesn't believe it, doesn't think he has the skills, you know, probably thinks that she doesn't have the money, you know, doesn't know anybody, all these excuses. I really don't think I could do this. A 10 would be absolute certainty that you would know, if you were 10, you would absolutely know beyond a shadow of a doubt that if you were to work this business every day and build it for 2 to 5 years, you would know for sure. It was just an absolute knowingness within you that you could have a 6-figure income here. And that would be a number 10. And what happens is most of us are somewhere in between. And I call it the road from doubt to certainty. Now, there's ways to increase your level of certainty, isn't there? Getting on a webinar can increase your level of certainty. Certainly convention increased the level of certainty for Sandy and Deb, caused them to get on fire. They might have moved from a 5 to a 7 or an 8 or a 9 at convention. But what happens when somebody drops off AutoShip, somebody quits the business, your level of certainty can drop down to a 3 or a 2. And in fact, people aren't even on this webinar because they're so far down here into doubt, right? So I bring this up because whatever you can do to increase your level of certainty is going to make every communication that you make with other people more effective, right? If you're sitting down here really disbelieving in Zango, disbelieving in yourself, don't really know if this juice is worth it, whenever you talk to people, they're not going to really believe you. That would be ineffective, right? But if you're up here, so what can you do to stay up here? You can stay plugged into the webinars. You can go to every event, even if you don't have a guest. You can get new people started on the juice so that you see those new results coming in because your monkey mind, what is that saying? I have found the enemy and it is within me. You know, that monkey mind that always wants to talk to you about what you can't do and what you're not able to do will come in and pull you down in here. So be aware of the road from doubt to certainty. Do whatever you can to increase your level of certainty. So I wanted to pop that in here. Terry's got a little piece about bringing joy to people this holiday season.
Wow, everybody. You know, great to listen to all of the great information this Saturday and all the guests. But, you know, Christmas is coming, and Christmas is my favorite time of year. It always has been. And every year at this time, I usually talk about the juice and how we can give the gift of juice. And the company has done this most beautiful bottle this year with a silver ribbon on it. Don't know if you probably can't see it in the picture there, but we were fortunate enough. Some of us got some at convention and ordered them. And so we have these bottles. Now, these bottles are not to keep at home. They're to give out. And so what I always do every Thanksgiving and every Christmas is I always, whenever we're invited to someone's house for like the turkey dinner next Thursday, I will be taking this beautiful bottle done in a saran wrap or in a basket with some homemade cookies or whatever, and it's going to be the centerpiece of the table, you see, because then everybody asks about this juice. You know, it's really important to get these bottles out and to share, but think of what we're sharing. We're sharing the gift of life. We're sharing the gift of joy. We're sharing the gift of health. There's nothing more important than to give people the gift of health. So I hope all of you can enjoy these beautiful bottles that Zango has made with the silver ribbon and bring the gift of joy this year into the 2008. So get your bottles, or you can order them from Zango and you'll get gift bags with them. And I encourage you all to take them to your host. Take it as a hostess gift. Take it in a basket. Put saran wrap on it with a big bow, and it will be the center of attention. And people will ask you, what is that? And there you go, the door opens. So bless you all, and thank you all for joining us today. Back to you, Art.
Okay, thanks a lot, Terry. Yeah, this is in the back office of MyZango. You can order this online, this gift pack under the product ordering. So thank you all for joining us. A couple announcements. We've got the Eric Welsh's next overview webinar November the 27th. We got an all-star Saturday coming up in Seattle. Mark that date on your calendar. If you're within a day's drive of Seattle, you'll want to be there. 3 founders, Dr. Templeman. We've got some of the top leaders coming to speak in the afternoon. That's an all-day Super Saturday. So thank you all for coming on the call today. Remember, enter your new people into our email loop here and direct them to our website so they can get training and get into our loop. I'd like to open up the lines. I'd like to thank Deb and Sandy and their teams and Gary for coming on the call. Let's give it up for the guests that came on and opened their hearts to us at the count of 3 once I open the lines here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Give them a cheer. Thank you.